What's up, everybody? It's Enlightened Masculinity. I'm your host, Yogi Chris, PhD. Seth Dominguez, you were just calling me. So if you listen to this podcast, Seth, you were just calling me, man. It's my podcast. I'm live streaming right now. You can't call a cat while he's live streaming. Like you called me on Instagram. You could see on Instagram that I'm going live. Why would you call me, dude? And now you're calling me again. Come on, Seth. Come on, Seth. Okay, anybody knows who I'm talking about? If you're in the IMC community, you know this guy, Seth. Then come on, Seth. Pick it up, buddy. All right. And also, I'm Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga. This is Enlightened Masculinity podcast show. And I was going to talk about, it's cliche to say like building the tribe, growing a tribe, blah, blah, blah. But, I'm part of this movement, IMC Nation movement, and that's a core theme of the show. The show is also about like evolutionary psychology and, just the mating mind and, pickup artistry and the red pill. And then it's enlightenment also. So, what do I know about meditation and language and relaxation? And I come from a yoga background, and yoga and those things and energy, whatever, for, relationships, healing, or just your own fulfillment, happiness. And, so that's kind of what the show is. It encompasses maybe a lot of things. It's enlightened masculinity. So this particular show is, what I would be doing. I was getting in the mindset of like, there's a bunch of guys that live here in this base, in this big house that I live in with Arash Tibazar, the foremost player and relationship coach on the planet. And then we have a couple other bases, another one here in San Jose, one in Los Angeles. We're a bunch of guys that are loyal to this movement, that are so dedicated to the information, to the study and the practice, the disciplines. They're changing their life and they're forming it in a way that, is a recipe for success when it comes to, yes, relationships. It's not all about relationships, but it is, because relationships are the weak link. So the life has to be kind of designed to accommodate that, and especially the lifestyle, so that you as a man, your energy and your communication can be freer to express, to, to grow, so that you're not confined or kind of grooved into a rut or whatever. So you need an actual lifestyle to be able to expand and express your masculinity, or just express yourself, really. And so we have these bases where guys are living with the base in the bases. And then there are a bunch of other guys, a lot of other guys, hundreds of other guys that don't live in the bases, that are IMC Nation. And I was thinking, I used to be one of those, because there used to not be any bases. I started this base, and, what would I do if I wasn't in a base, if I wasn't in San Jose? Maybe even if it wasn't in the cards for me, I didn't have that opportunity. I was stuck with a job, or, I was totally invested with my family where I was, or I was in a foreign country, couldn't come here, or whatever the reasons are. I don't have the economics to make it happen. I don't know, whatever a person's reason are. Like, what would I do? Like, if I'm in IMC Nation, or if I'm in this movement and I'm studying this and I'm a student of this content, I would be streaming about it. I would be posting about it. I would be wherever I am. I would be socializing, and I would be bringing awareness to it, through that. You need to engage with life and what's out there in the world, and make it on purpose for you, so that it fits with what you need to be achieving and doing. It's not just random motions. It's not out there willy-nilly. It's not just some chaos or doing something just because you have nothing to do. It's fitting it so it makes sense, even if it's a little vacation. Like if I take a drive up the hill and go to the mountain and I want to see the view, like that may not have so much to do with my purpose, but I can be listening to a book on tape on the way up there. I can film some kind of promo video while I'm at the top and enjoy the view a little bit. It's not that every second of every moment of, is making me money, but it is building on the previous moment if you live this kind of disciplined life, with a lot of mindset tools, because so much of the discipline is in the mindset and what you're doing with your mind, your thoughts, your self-talk or lack of self-talk or whatever. It's not so much like on the outside, I'm doing a discipline that everybody can see. What they see is the result of my discipline, which is like a beingness, surprisingly or paradoxically, of freedom. The discipline allows me to be more free. And how that happens is like, it's almost like I have comfort or rest within my disciplines, within the boundaries of what I will allow for myself. Let's say a time. So I have an hour to do something. In that hour, I may allow myself to more freely express things instead of just doing activities. What is the sound in the background? I swear I just heard a sound in the background. Oh, that's what it is. It's Rick on a Clubhouse. What's up, Rick? Make him a moderator so he can attract audience too. So within that hour, I may be more free versus just kind of not sticking to a schedule, so that when you go for a walk or you take a break, you haven't allocated that I have an hour to do this. So you're still thinking about your work, or you're still thinking about what you quote should be doing, instead of just knowing you're on a break that is so disciplined and segmented with the time, but it allows you to really do anything in that hour, as long as you, in the end of the hour, you go back to what you're doing. Similar like in behaviors, like if I'm within my social group, like I can really freely express. Let's say there's a new person interacting in the social group. I can really freely express to that new person, knowing that really it doesn't matter what their opinion of me is. What matters is my tribe and the group that I'm with, their opinion of me. So I have boundaries that are within the people in my tribe, but just because this new person is within proximity or they're in the center of our group doesn't make them part of our tribe. It just means that they're like in the group, like, geographically, like how we're all oriented with each other. It doesn't make them part of the tribe. So it's not about, being polite to the new person. It's actually about the respect within the tribe, and then acting however I want to act, as long as it doesn't violate my tribe. I act however I want to act to the other person, because I don't care if it offends them. It's all about my tribe. So again, that's some discipline, but within that discipline then can find freedom, versus if a person has no tribe, well, yeah, they can freely express to whoever, but they won't feel safe doing it. Nobody has their back, and the world or their environment will push back on them, and they'll either go into dissonance or submission, or or however it ends up working out. So by forming our lives with these disciplines, we're setting ourselves up for success in this lifestyle in a proven method with just an algorithm for success. Now, if I wasn't living in the base and I was somewhere at a distance, I would still be following the disciplines and practicing as I would, and I would be living my life and interacting with whatever businesses I need to interact with, whatever shopping I need to do, whatever working out I need to do, and involvement in the world. I'm planning my day to be involved in the world so I can mix it up as I study this stuff. So there's word of mouth. And I'm constantly pulling people to my social media, to my Instagram, because I post about my life. And that's important. Or to my YouTube, I have some value. I have something that I'm putting out, and I keep refining it, and I commit myself to it. I learn the technology of it. I make an effort, and I have something to show for myself, because it ends up being very useful later, and you will improve on it. So even in the beginning, when you don't like maybe what you're producing, don't do it just because I said to do it. These are suggestions, obviously. And you may not be super pleased with the product that you produce in the beginning, but don't resent the process. Like, the process is just what it is. It's a means for you to practice, because the other route is to work for someone else and not be known for whatever you're doing. It's a pipe dream to think that you'll become so good socially or whatever, that everything will come to you. The business will come to you, the relationships will come to you, the money will come to you. And you haven't prepared your mind, prepared your audience to, readied your communication to deliver the message of whatever you got to deliver, the value that you have, demand for the exchange so that they pay you, or so that they go on a date with you, or whatever. That you don't demand for them to go on a date with you, but you put value to them in a way that's like, so there's sales, and that's how you do the selling, but there's also seduction. Seduction is like sales, it's just in relationship. So it's demonstrating value, demonstrating that you don't need their business, but then giving them calls to action, giving them steps to take that would get them closer to the ultimate seduction of it. The ultimate sale is the money exchange. The ultimate seduction is the sex. But then you want a repeat client, because that's going to be, much better for your brand. It'll be better business in the long run. And then you want that repeat client to be a high value, a high quality client. So you're not just getting repeat clients of $1 per month or whatever, or $12 a year or something. Like, you want some high class. You want people that when they succeed on your product or service, that when people see them succeeding, they want it too. it attracts also new clients and new business. That's what you want in the relationship too. She gets better, she improves, everyone in her life gets attracted to her, like what's going on. They get curious and they move towards. Not everybody's going to be sold. Maybe 1 in 12 get sold, because the other 11, there's going to be haters in there. There's going to be people that, have cognitive dissonance when it comes to the red pill stuff. There's going to be people in there that, just have too much emotional trauma and wounding as they get close, and people have intimate conversations with them. We're scientists of communication, the IMC movement. So we understand the mathematics of language and, what words mean, not just in a dictionary sense, not just in an etymological sense, like what the roots of the word, where it comes from, the origins, and not just even like slang or local stuff, but it's so contextual. It's so based on tonality and, innuendos, double meanings, insinuations. There's a lot of like covert techniques and things. And it doesn't even have to be a technique, but there's a lot of covert information or hidden information in communication. It's not just words or tonality. And we're scientists of it. We're researchers of it. And, so when you communicate with the IMC Nation guy, you develop an intimacy very fast, very easily and naturally, because they're doing it. And that's why the base is so powerful, because the guys that are doing that, they come around each other. And then there's a lot of closeness and affinity that happens in reality that shapes from that. Reality being agreement. As they make a bunch of agreement, then there's something that builds. And when they build something, then they realize that they're standing on ground. They're standing on something. They haven't been standing on anything out there alone, solo in the world, been standing on very, very little. And so you feel it a lot more. Guys that have been visiting the base or coming to, camps or whatever, they feel it. You feel that there's like this global foundation that we have, that you're able to stand up on it everywhere you are. But it'll be different when you have your own base. It's like a local little planet or something like that, or a moon, a satellite, that has its own gravity. So versus being caught in the orbit, like you're a ring around Saturn, you become a moon around Saturn or something, or even more than that. So, I already kind of touched on what I was going to get at, which was I'm always feeding people or funneling people to my social media, because I'm posting about my life, and, I'm spreading the word, and I want to spread the word through my social media, and I want to go live, and I want to post on YouTube, and, and I just keep expressing myself and putting my voice out to the people that are on your social media. They'll notice, there'll be some shares. You want to practice and refine your communication. Meanwhile, while you're out there, you keep meeting people and funneling them to your social media. Meanwhile, you're also posting your things for people later to find it. And of course, you have some business or some hustle, something like Master Myself. Private hustle might be like private security. He already works as a security guard, so he'd have a business card that does private security for private events, or if you need a bodyguard or a company anywhere, for anything. I can also, I'm also a professional driver, so I can be your driver and your bodyguard, like that's so then you'd have YouTube videos about being private security, about how you do the business of that, like talking about why people need that, this and that. And then if you just have 1 or 2 videos about that, where you just they don't have to know you like worked out the ideas ahead of time. And so you presented it naturally, but you'd already worked it out. So it was a really sharp, concise video. That was your pitch. It was your sales pitch. So when you meet people and you get their text message or whatever, and you want to show them what you're about, you can send them your YouTube video. This is what I do. And, it builds on itself. So it's not going to be like you're bat 1,000 with that and you keep getting client after client, but to have some hustle that gives you plausible deniability for why you're doing all this other stuff. And you will build it more and more as time goes by. If you're just kind of regular with it, every week or every month you post something, like you'll, through iterations, kind of mold it into what you need it to be. And you will end up with some kind of hustle or some kind of, some value outside of working for someone else. And you'll have this, what was the phrase I just said? Plausible deniability for you to be working on your avatar, your fashion, for you to be approaching people, for excuse to be opening and talking to them or her or him. They got value. If you ever need private security or anything like that, that's what I do. And and then that just, if they're talking to you, that gives you an opportunity to, lean back, look over the shoulder. Are you a Libra by any chance? Like, and then just go into that and you just practice and talk. And it doesn't matter because you don't rely on the money from that input, that stream of income. So you can totally just use it as a game gambit. And eventually you'll get so good at game that you'll start getting business from it. And that's where your game starts making you money. But it's integrating your lifestyle so that game is life, life is game, this and that. And meanwhile, you're like basically, so if I didn't have a base and I wasn't moving here, I would be frequently live streaming. I would be frequently posting. I would be living the discipline. I'd be posting about the discipline. I'd be meeting people and I talk about it casually. I talk about it frequently. Like, this is the lifestyle. This is what I'm doing. And this is what I do on my social media. I would be going out and I'd be scheduling that with the guys that I meet to bring them out. And I'd be educating them while I'm out with them. Mind you, don't over talk or over teach them because they'll get put off by that. They're not aware of what you're doing. So you just do a little bit at a time, really just enough to adjust your own vibe. And, just practice. You got to be willing to drop guys. You got to get new guy friends. And, you build a Rolodex. It's an old school term for like having a long list of numbers of people you could contact. Save them all under like pickup. So you meet like 12 guys and they're all under pickup Tom, pickup Jerry, pickup Cliff, pickup whatever. And then you get the girls and you put them under, whatever term. I actually didn't put them under a common term. I would put them under the city I met them because I was traveling. So it'd be like so-and-so St. Louis, so-and-so Gainesville, so-and-so Texas, so-and-so California, so-and-so Los Angeles. So I'd have like 30 Los Angeles numbers and I'd have like 10 San Jose numbers. And so when I go to San Jose, I just look up San Jose and I message all those people. And, so you would just put their like Jenny Yoga Studio, Jackie Farmer's Market, Susie Library, like wherever you met them or whatever. And, you just continually build your life. At this point, I mean, you may not be based up, but if you got these things going for you, you got some wingmen, you got some hustle that you're trying to put together, you got where you're approaching women in your day-to-day life, doing business, whatever you do for yourself. And then you put together a get together so that Sunday night you have a barbecue, or Sunday night you have a fucking, I don't know, you watch football. Sunday night you get pizza. Sunday night you have a movie night. Sunday night you go to the movies night, whatever. And, that's where you would build around that. And at some point, of course, you need to be making money for all this, and you need to be getting advanced training from Arash. And if you're doing all this, guaranteed there's an IMC brother that wants to join in with that with you, or they'll travel to see you, or, are you stuck in your location? The guys that you're meeting, that you should be turning them on to IMC and Arash, and you can start hosting chapter meetings. That'll be like the next thing that we do, which is probably something like, a brief meeting. Arash can maybe step in and say something, or who knows how it is. But first you just got to meet those guys. Like, you could go over any kind of technical video or something when you're out, or debriefing after, before you go out. You just start building ritual with that, and how to have the friendly conversation to get agreement with guys and make those plans it's just what has to happen. You just got to create, and you create by having the map in your mind, the blueprint, and then sending out the messages, doing the phone calls, and putting in that extra energy. And you got to take care of yourself every day so that you can do it again tomorrow. So there's the meditation, there's the wake up exercise, there's the cold shower, there's the reading, there's the journaling, and there's the showing up to tribal meeting. And if you're doing these things and you're applying, then it's a grind. Yeah, it's a grind. But you know what? Nature is right outside that window. And minus these clothes, minus my refrigerator of food, I'm not going to last too long out there. Life is pretty hard. We actually got it pretty easy. And we're just stressing about whatever we're stressing about. That's a lot easier than out there hungry and cold. But that's what, it's right out there, just like outside this window. I just happen to have these possessions or whatever. But if somehow I didn't, I'd have to go start from scratch. What would I do? Like, if I didn't have a bank account, if I had zero, I'd have to go take it off somebody's back, or go rob the fucking whatever, or just try to, build shelter, right? What am I going to do? So this is much easier than that. This is just, okay, build a really successful life that feeds you women, that feeds you money, that feeds you relationships. And, now there's such a strong tribe and following with the IMC Nation that you don't have to go it alone. It's, you become somebody in a movement. And you may one day transcend the movement, or you may become the leader of the movement, or become such a high general in the movement, or just wherever you are, wherever you're at. But everybody wants relationships. Everybody wants get-togethers. They want daily social dynamics. They want more conversation about the things that they love, that inspires them. They want the money to come to them for what they want to do in life. They want to spend freely and help their family. And, they want beauty in their life. They want sex in their life. They want the pleasures of life. And, they want to, whatever the more core values are, they want to feel strong. They want to feel like they're a force for good, that they can really affect some change. And that's going to come through money, power, resources, influence, relationships. And, there's a lot of methods for all those other things except for relationships. There's ways to get money. There's ways to be a good fighter. There's ways to, politically negotiate for power and influence. But as far as communication with the opposite sex and relationships, if that's not fulfilled, there's going to be a nagging thorn in the heart and mind and body of any individual that just doesn't have that part fulfilled. As an adult, maybe as a kid, it's, you're developing, but at some point you need that, you want that. If it's not there, then it's pulling on all your decisions, on all your actions, on, how you spend your money, what you drive, what's your schedule like, what your hormones like, what your habits like, how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem and everything. That just changes all your decisions. Like it infects everything in your life when your relationships aren't going well. And yeah, maybe it infects everywhere in your life when your money's not going well, but I don't know about that. Obviously it's very important. Like we want that, but like I said, there's tons of methods for making money. For whatever industry you are, there's at least 10 successful methods. But relationships, so study your methods, study your business, get good at what you're doing, and then study this stuff, which is the code underneath the code. This is the basic code. This is, you're doing everything you're doing in life for successful relationships, for happiness, fulfillment in your mating. And I mean, it sounds so cold to call it mating, but in your social dynamics, your friends, your alliances, and even how you handle your enemies and your haters, how you socially relate with your parents, with children and old people and strangers, with men and women, business, romantic. And, if you're working on both and you keep growing, you develop kind of how I'm talking about, putting yourself out there, interacting, funneling people to social media, posting social media, going live, posting videos, making it about a hustle so that you have something to display, that you can, ask for the money. Like I was telling one of my girls, she was dog sitting, and I was like, do some dog photos too. So now you can hustle and make those dog photos. That's another thing that can blow up, that you can charge for, that you can make money for. Like it's just integrating your life. If there's an opportunity there, if there's a leakage of energy, or if there's some energy output, look to be compensated for that energy. Why did I put away the guitar after I got so good at the guitar? Because there was no energy coming back to me for it. I might play some open mic nights and I get some applause, but that's not feeding the amount of energy it takes to keep up that skill level. And, so what am I going to go? Am I going to go pro? Am I going to try to make an album? Am I going to do that? Well, what are my options in life? And why? What are my motivations for doing that? Is it to get paid? Is it to get the women? Is it to get the fame, the influence, the power? Am I going to be able to keep all of those women and all of that power if I don't have the communication skills? What happens if I break a finger, or, then I can't play the guitar the same way? Is everything dependent on the skill here versus, this other thing that's, more human, you could even say, communication, the mind, language. I saw the power in this instrument that I carry with me always, my mind, my voice. And, I saw, outside of your experience, if you have the right sound bites, if you have the right gestures and mannerisms, if you have the right timing, then you can really affect some magic socially where there was none. It was just plain and mundane happening around you. And then with the right interactions, you just make laughter uproar, you make friendships happen, you can make longing for the future interaction happen out of nowhere. And if you had done nothing, it would have just gone on being its mundane, boring play of life. But you were a character and you made something of it. You made it richer, and you became an attractor to people that were seeking that, like a magnet. And you also triggered insecurities in people by doing that. So you develop enemies. As you become powerful, you get the people pulled towards you and the people that want to bring you down because it symbolizes their failure and weakness and brittleness. So that's the game of life. If you fall in love with that, people that are afraid of conflict or can't face that, they would rather keep themselves dim so that there's nothing to handle. But you are going to then handle a life not well lived at the end of your life. And I don't know any good handles for that. I don't know a handling for how at the end of your life to, look back and be like, man, I didn't really try. I gave it half effort the whole time. I don't know the handling for that. Jesus, please save me. That's like the handling for that. God, forgive me for I have sinned. I lived my life half well. Please, if you see fit, give me a second life in heaven and I'll do better. Nah. Jesus, take the wheel. I trust in ye. Okay. So that's what I wanted to talk about. That was my inspiration was you can't hear a thing? Jesus. My Instagram, you're the first person that says can't hear a thing. There's been like 20 people that came through there. Was what I would do if I didn't live with Arash here in San Jose. Now, of course, I do live here, but why? Because I did these things before I lived here. When I was in Florida or traveling the country, I had a podcast, guys. I was doing it on my own. Now, I was pretty irregular and consistent with it because it was difficult. But I mean, all of those episodes on Science of Peace, every week I showed up and did that. Every week I showed up for the silent flute. I have so much pride in the silent flute. I make like pennies compared to what I do with Arash. But I keep doing it because, man, at the time when I started it, I needed the 1 or 2 signups to eat. Now I don't need the 4 or 5 signups, and I'm doing it just because, man, it feels good to not need the money. And just keep doing it. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'm a creature of habit, as they say. When I wrestled for 8 years and I stopped wrestling, there was a time period of 1 to 2 years where in the afternoon every day, I felt like a big emptiness because I wasn't working out at 3 p.m. Every day for 8 years, I had worked out at 3 p.m. And then I stopped. Every Monday at 5 p.m., I do silent flute lecture. It's changed. It was 7, it was 8 p.m., it was 6 p.m., it was whatever. But that's fine. That's just what it is. Posting, pulling, there's, now my Instagram is like 100% congruent. But, I went through many bouts of haters. I fed my entire social media circle to I don't know if putting it on the chopping block is the right word. I put them through the filter. Everybody went through the filter. So many people were lost. And now people who meet me or interact with me see no haters or this or that, every now and then something weird. But I'm telling you guys to do this because I'm already doing the advice I'm giving you. And I've completely integrated my social media into what I'm doing. And, so there's like zero risk for me. But there's very little discovery. So I'm constantly working with the IMC staff for podcast discovery, YouTube discovery. Things are growing a little bit. The business is doing well. We're just looking to grow, always looking to grow and expand. If we can hack that code, apply a little bit of intelligence to expand, but my recommendation for people that are at a distance and learning this stuff is to be regularly meeting people, pulling them to their Instagram and, be going live and posting and going out, making it a regular habit to go out and invite the people that you meet to come out with you. Do your online dating apps or whatever, and just invite everybody out. Every Friday and Saturday, invite all those motherfuckers on Tinder and Bumble or whatever and invite them out. Who cares if they're fat or ugly or old or whatever? Just invite them out. It'll be a good time. If they make it out, they're your people, man. And you get used to it. There's someone in your tribe, Someday you'll meet a brother who's a good fit for that person. And, that's what I recommend. Okay. Kickstart Cash. That's great. So you posted that on the Instagram. The link is not clickable. So that's a good thought, but it's, it won't work. We have some comments here on Zoom. I think. I don't know if these are private. Tony, Josiah, during Q&A, can you brush on the bullshit mentality of the lone wolf and how it's praised in society? I don't really know how society praises it. I think there's like, there's a lot of depictions of like Lone Ranger, or, you know, the outlaw who's all by himself, but somehow super tough and can ward off gangs and whatever. You know, these kind of solo riders. I think that, you know, it's an intermediate step. It's the outcast. It's the reject. It's the guy that didn't want to be part of the sheep group. And so he went off to be on his own. But it is, so it's a step above being one of the sheep, but it's also, you know, vulnerable, and it's, you know, it's a lower, it just needs to be contextualized in all of the strategies. That person, the lone wolf, is going to, on average, do worse than the pack of lone wolves, than the pack of guys that are each capable of being a lone wolf, but they have, through agreements, through common values, through communication, they've formed allegiance, and so they move as a stronger unit of organism, of people. And so that's a more successful strategy. So that's all the lone wolf is, a less successful strategy if there is the opportunity to pack up with other strong lone wolves, kind of like that wording. Now, if there is nobody to pack up with, I mean, you got to make your choices. So it's like in Epictetus says in one of the Stoic books, I forget the quote obviously exactly, but it's something like, don't be that guy that says the music today is not good enough for my refined taste. The people today, their conversation is not good enough for my refined conversations. You know, the clients today, they're not good enough for what I offer, kind of thing. Like, nobody's good enough. Nothing's good enough. Like, you're so good, that's why you're alone. Don't be the guy that like you're a lone wolf because nobody is good enough for you. Maybe you're not good enough for anybody. That's why you're a lone wolf. You're just like somehow twisting it in your own mind that they're not good enough for you. They might not be, but just this, it's a warning. It's a thing to look at. Like, are you being the guy that is not friendly enough for anybody, that has no ability to form allegiance, that has no social compromise in you to be able to be a little bit flexible with someone that's not just like you, you know, so that you can have that added power of a brother, even if you don't agree with everything. Like, so that's where you got to get down to like more core values and self-awareness of what really matters to, you know, and that's maturity, whatever. So hopefully you have a guide and whatever, but that's what I think about the lone wolf. Josiah. Yes. Silent flute, private message, Josiah 100, Josiah, Jesus, take the wheel, Tony K, everybody subscribe on Genius, leave a review. Hello, Shaq. And we love you for keeping Silent Flute going. Aw, all the girls are going, aw. Zoom user, Arslan Os. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah. This is Josiah Fire. Tony, as a lone wolf, I found my wolf pack. Oh, that's a guy. Oh, that's great. And Arslan, wow. Yeah, you like that. You like that talk. Well, I live with Arash, you know, it gets better and better, my conversation skills and the rhythm of everything. One of these days I'll talk about my PhD, but I don't want to throw in too many subjects in the same episode. This episode, I'll figure out the title. The phone's about to die, actually. I need to plug it in so that I don't lose the recording. 1 second. Any other questions or anything, or we just end it here? It's 5:42. We have gathering at 7, actually. Raised hand. Arslan, okay, so we have a guest on the show, everybody. Everybody go and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and here you're going to hear the first other voice on the show today. Arslan from Romania, but via Los Angeles right now. What's up?
Oz, brother, I just wanted to say, don't end it, brother. I do want to listen more. Like, if there's any way you can keep speaking and keep informing us about these subjects and what you're talking about, because I just logged in right now. That would be amazing, brother, because I got like such beautiful moments, and you were talking about some deep subjects, and I got that. Amazing.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I won't just be able to continue, but I have 230 episodes up, and especially the most recent ones. Awesome. You know, the first 80 or 100 or so has my co-host Akash, who's no longer a student of Arash's, and it was mostly me teaching him. But there's a lot of really good stuff in there because
I see
the dialogue has a lot of questions. And, when I would pick up low value things or confusion in him, I would try to teach him. Obviously, I didn't do that great of a job because he ended up not lasting. And then I really dedicated myself to a lot of solo episodes that.
What happened? Could you tell me what happened to him? Could you be able to tell me what happened to this guy who you were?
Josh?
Yeah.
He did a couple shady things.
Okay.
He was on the mentorship program with Arash. I was in that also. And, he said a peculiar thing one day that with regard to like money and taking someone's money. And it was just like out of character kind of thing. Everybody did a little double take. And then later on a Lion's Den lecture, he kind of bullshitted about something.
Okay.
Or no, what happened is later on another mentorship lecture, the question was asked like what the meaning of like Armageddon was or something, the esoteric meaning. And he answered, but gave no credit to where he got the answer from. But the credit was to Arash because a few months earlier in mentorship, Arash gave that definition of Armageddon. And so Akash was like taking credit for it. And then like a month or so later, there was a bullshit moment on Lion's Den where he basically bullshitted the what another man had spoken. I think it was Pete or somebody. It was another guy had spoken something. And Akash, what did you think about that? And he was like, it was very genuine and good. And it was a bullshit thing that guy had said too. So they both bullshitted at each other. And then Arash was called on like 10 other guys. Like, what do you think of it? And every other guy was like, man, they were both fake. They were both fake. They were both fake. They were both fake.
Yeah.
So then he was given the opportunity, just like Pete, to man up, start beasting out, get your discipline in, and quit fucking up. And he ended up going full time with Vince Kelvin instead. Whereas Pete went the route of beasting, Akash went the route of leaving.
I see. That's interesting. All right. Yeah.
And so, I think he did his best while he was here, and he's still in the game doing what he's doing with Vince. I don't know that he'll ever be back. I have a feeling that I'll probably cross paths with him, probably in the streets somewhere where he's trying to pick up chicks, and whatever. We'll probably get a beer and talk things out or something. But so that was fine. That was a fine era. I taught him. There's a lot of great stuff there, man. You have 100 or 200 hours of stuff, and
awesome. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, and it would always be great to hear back about any good episodes or any shitty episodes, because I'm looking at deleting a bunch of episodes because I don't think they represent me anymore, and also recycling the best episodes from my other podcasts, because I had 3 other podcasts too, and some of them have really good episodes. So I'm going to delete those channels. I'll delete the shows and just recycle the best episodes. So pretty soon, look forward to on this show some of the top episodes from other shows, which have been very good. And, I don't talk about that stuff anymore, some of it. So that'll be, I'm actually looking forward to that. And then Tony Kosmicki come to Beast Camp and get interviewed on Enlightened Masculinity. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the guys that I'm not doing so much interviews anymore because I think it was more boring for people. I didn't get deep on topics. What I want are more topics now, not topical. Everybody gets that I'm interviewing IMC Nation guys. But like, I want to have Everett on and talk about alchemy, or I want to have Sharif on and talk about owning a strip club, or I want to have whatever, Fernando on and talk about dating a stripper, or have Shamir on talk about forming a base somewhere. I could talk to the base guys, like more topical stuff instead of just interviewing guys that come to camps, because just because they come to a camp, that just means they paid some money and they attended. Like, that doesn't mean that they necessarily have substance to what they're saying. Ideally, we would think they have more substance because they're coming to camp, and they do, compared to what they had before they came to camp. It's compared to themselves. They have more substance compared to before they arrived. But, for the show audience and in the interest of growing the podcast, what's interesting to people, I'd like to keep it more topical with a guest. And the guests are going to be from IMC Nation. So in those first 80 episodes, when I had Akash, he pulled in like 20 or 30 guests, some of which were very good guests, but they're totally outside of IMC Nation. And I'm just not that interested in anybody else, really. If I'm going to do that, then refer to the episode I did 1 or 2 episodes ago about the IMC Nation growth model, where I'm going to start setting up collaborations with Arash and other coaches of big social media followings or whatever, and get those interviews going back and forth. So look forward to that. That's something I'm working with the IMC staff on, finding qualified people to contact for that. So you got kind of what you wanted, Arslan. I talked for a lot longer than I thought I was going to, and appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for showing up live. Big audience. I appreciate it. And on Enlightened Masculinity, I'll see you next show. Join the Telegram group if you click the Genius link in the description for episodes, that'll take you to, kind of my digital business card has links to like how to get in contact with everything. There's a Telegram button there. If you join the Telegram group, that's where I make all the announcements about when am I going live. Here's the live call, because sometimes it's at random times. But if you're in the Telegram group, you see that, and then you can join these calls live. So that's how you do that. And shout out to TK, Tony K, for posting all these episodes, and all the IMC staff. All right, everybody. Os.